Slowly, my head turned to him. Daniel leaned forward, his arms on his knees and his hands clasped together. I knew you weren't used to the club scene when you arrived. You avoided people and kept your eyes on the floor. You instantly ran to the bar, clutching onto your clothes and your drink. You looked like you were the drinking type, and I was proven right, he explained. He added, I figured I'd order you something lighter. He pointed at the punch, even though I had the feeling you weren't going to drink it. Guilt immediately ran over to me. I didn't mean to offend Daniel by rejecting the drink. I was merely being cautious. I didn't want to be taken advantage of. My parents warned me to never accept anything edible from strangers, especially when it wasn't made in front of me. A smile came out of Daniel, and instantly, I was hypnotized. His eyes were already dazzling, but to add a charming grin, I didn't want to be attracted to this man, but he was making it extremely difficult for me. Daniel then turned to my direction, his arm laid on top of the couch's backrest, supporting his head. He stared at me with focused intensity. Slowly, I was lost in his eyes. The loud party music gradually died down into a muffled sound. Goosebumps crawled throughout my body as my cheeks warmed. I blinked as I looked away, then to the fruit punch. If you're worried about getting drunk, you don't have to, said Daniel. On my first order, I told the nut to put the usual amount of alcohol. This is the same as the one served to you downstairs. I turned to look at Daniel again. He winked once. He caught my gaze. My heart raced as he did so. I hid my hands in between my thighs, trying to keep my composure. I felt his gaze stuck on me. The tension between us heightened, and I knew it would continue if I stayed here longer. Look, Daniel moved even closer, bringing 2 empty shot glasses with him. If you're still scared to try it, I'll drink it with you. He then filled the 2 glasses with the punch. He offered one to me and waited for me to initiate the toast. This was unfair. This drink would never have any effect on Daniel, seeing that he was used to alcohol. I could be drunk within 1 shot. He could take hundreds of these and feel fine. You ready? Even though I was being a baby, Daniel remained very patient and understanding. For all I knew, that could be his tactic in luring women into his arms. But who wouldn't be attracted to him? He was beautiful, and a gentleman in such an odd place to be one. We did a small toast, and together, we drank. It tasted like normal juice, and I didn't feel anything weird if I took it. As I turned my head to Daniel, he smiled as his brows arched, anticipating my reaction. I smiled and replied, I guess this is a safe drink for me. Daniel nudged me, making me giggle. I told you so. He poured more into our glasses. He raised it, encouraging me to do the same. Tonight, you shall have fun, and I'll make sure you're secure while doing so. Let's hope you can keep that promise, I said, rolling my eyes as we made a toast. Daniel finished his drink ahead of me again, and as I drank mine, he leaned towards my ear. With a raspy voice, he said, I keep all my promises, love. I held my breath as I stilled from his response. As Daniel slowly moved away from me, I immediately swallowed whatever punch remained in my mouth. I then took a deep breath, preparing myself for what was about to transpire tonight. I lost track of time, but I was having too much fun with Daniel. We remained at the table, talking about our embarrassing moments in life. So there I was, trying to impress the girl I liked. Daniel continued his story about attempting to woo a girl in high school. As soon as I reached her, I opened my mouth, but nothing came out of it. Well, something did, but from my ass. We shared a laugh. My head rolled back, clearly imagining Daniel during that time of his life. That must have been humiliating, I replied, controlling my laughter. Oh, yes, it was. But I learned something from that, said Daniel. Thankfully, nothing ever became too personal as he never asked anything that would. We ordered a whole pitcher of the punch, and it was almost finished. The same could be said with the shrimp cocktail he ordered. Daniel spoiled me as we spent more time together. He made me feel safe in an environment I wasn't used to. The table had 2 curtains tucked away on the side. To block the stares and noise from nearby tables, Daniel drew the curtains, putting them at the front of the round couch. He must have noticed that I was always watching if someone was looking at us. It was a blessing to have a considerate person with you in this peculiar situation. But amidst the fun and laughter we shared, we had moments where we held each other's gaze, then acted as if nothing happened. My inner heat was ready to pounce on Daniel whenever he stared at me, but I had to keep myself in control because this wasn't the ideal place to do something obscene. Casper suddenly returned, panting. Neither Maevis nor Alexis was with him, and that concerned me. I hadn't checked on them since I started hanging out with Daniel. I was too focused on our conversation, I forgot I came here with those 2. You're not dancing, Dan? Casper asked, grabbing a beer. The dance floor is hotter this time. More girls arrived tonight. He winked at Daniel as he took a sip. Nah, I'm good. Besides, Gloria here needed some company, Daniel said, giving me a reassuring nod. Casper nodded, but he looked at me in a way I couldn't describe. I couldn't tell what he was thinking. His eyes squinted as he took another sip of his beer. I wanted to ask about Alexis and Maevis, but I feared what Casper could say. Daniel must have sensed my worry and asked, "Where are her friends anyway?" "Oh, them? Dude." Casper smiled devilishly as he leaned onto the table. "You're missing a lot on those 2 girls. They're fun to be with. You're party monsters." They drank all the drinks offered to them. He then looked directly at me after saying that. Returning to Daniel, he added, "They weren't afraid to let loose." I couldn't handle Casper's presence. I needed to get away from him whilst he was here. Turning to Daniel, I asked, "Where's the restroom?" "Go on straight ahead there. The restroom's at the very end of the hall," Daniel instructed. I nodded at him and Casper before walking away. I wiped my hands dry as I exited the restroom. Everything was fine until a figure towered over me, blocking my path. It was Casper.